to your kids,
Exactly.
it's a great indication that God is in your heart trying to tell you
God's
something's not right here.
He says that doesn't.
Right, and then you can say, Lord, this doesn't jive with how I would even treat my kids. Certainly, I'm not more righteous than you.
Yeah.
So, reveal what's going on here.
Right.
And He will. Don't we swallow things that we read in the Bible and we just assume we're reading it the right way.
Correct.
We don't even consider that maybe the lens we're looking at is completely different. Because if you look at me from behind, you'll see me one way. If you look at me from the front, you'll see me another way. If you look at me from the side, you'll see me another way. If you look at, you'll see me a different way. And so we never consider that we're actually looking at Scripture from a certain vantage point. And what vantage point is it that we're looking at? Because whichever vantage point we're looking at is going to determine what we see.
Yeah.
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 Right?
Very good. I like
so
that.
did God give us free will? Or was it simply that tree was there and that dynamic was created when they were given that choice, when God is saying, don't eat of it. I didn't create it, don't eat of it. He created it. Not a lot of reasons, but just don't do it. But that created the dynamic of free will.
I wouldn't say it created the dynamic of free will. I would say that God lives from the heart, meaning God believes something in his heart, and then out of that, his life is born. And so there's a component of free will in that. And so in that we're made in the image and likeness of God, I would say free will is a function of design, not a function of that existing. I would say man always had the ability to either choose to walk with God or not, because he's looking for a co-equal. He's looking for a being like him that can be his friend. Like you see it with Abraham. He finally finds a guy who this guy will think like me, and Abraham's called his friend. So I think free will is just a function of our design, not a function of that tree.
Well, the reason I'm asking, if that tree wasn't there, or the serpent wasn't there, or Satan wasn't there, was there any choice? They had a life that they weren't ever going to choose one or the other. That Satan and the tree provided the means to make a choice. But I've always understood that God made people with free will.
Absolutely.
But what I'm hearing now is perhaps they had the capability of free will, but he didn't give them those options. Those options were given people through a different dynamic.
Those options exist.
Right, they existed.
But apart from just, there was no sin before the serpent decided to create his own wisdom. And so he created something that wasn't there before either, out of his own ability, free will. And so so even if the tree wouldn't have been there, man could still decide it, forget him, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Just like the serpent did.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Besides the tree of the knowledge